Jim.
Yeah. So first of all, my name is Jim Lee. I'm a director of the Edinburgh Solar Co-op, but I work for a non-profit organisation called Energy for All, who support Edinburgh Solar, and indeed support 35 such projects across the UK, 15 of them in Scotland. And those projects that we set up become the owners of Energy for All. So we are owned by Edinburgh Solar. Um, Edinburgh Solar was set up in 2013, but in the years leading up to that, there was a lot of discussion among a lot of people in Edinburgh about how they might take more responsibility for their energy needs given the climate crisis that we are facing. They had no clear idea about how to go about that. And at one stage thought they might put they might put some wind turbines in Leith Harbour and spent some time speaking to developers to no real end to see if that was possible. They then went in the other direction and looked at several very, very small projects, but realised that they were too small and weren't the starting point that they really needed. They then found themselves working in partnership with the council, who were looking to the community to actually do some work with. So the council, in some ways, came to them. It was a meeting of minds, if you like. And in 2015 and in 2020, they raised just over £2 million in community share offers. Nearly all the money, particularly on the second share offer 2020. In fact, I think in 2020, all the money was raised in Edinburgh. In 2015, it was about 70%. They were trying to get 100% then as well, but there were a couple of deadlines, the feed-in tariff, and tax relief was running out. So they decided to move quickly and put the share offer out beyond Edinburgh. But they raised that money. And let me just move on. If I can't, it's not letting me move on. All right, it's doing it now. So, the Edinburgh Solar Co-op have put solar panels on 30 council roofs over the two phases. It was 24 in the first phase and 6 in the second. It was going to be 11, but it was during COVID, and there were all sorts of restrictions that slowed them down, so they didn't actually manage to do as many as they had hoped. But what that means is that the citizens of Edinburgh have paid for solar panels on council roofs. The council got solar panels on 30 roofs, mostly schools, mostly primary schools, and didn't pay a penny for them whatsoever. The solar co-op is supplying electricity to the council at 2015 prices and 2020 prices. So all of this is done out with the market, and the fact that the market really took off after 2020 didn't impact at all on that. So that's been a tremendous saving to the council. The solar co-op also deals with all operations, all maintenance, and all financial surplus goes to community benefit, usually in a good year about £30,000. They are now working on a third phase. They are looking at 12 buildings, which are now been agreed by the council. They are planning to spend about £2 million on this phase. They are hoping to do a share offer in May of this year. And this time it will include the Royal Commonwealth Pool and the Gogar Tram Depot, both in their own ways quite challenging, but they feel they are now up to that level of intervention. And this time, for the first time, they are going to actually include 4 community-owned properties, so properties that are not owned by the council, a couple of community asset transfers, a charity-owned childcare facility, and a food poverty project. So why has Edinburgh been able to do this? the council themselves were calling themselves a cooperative council. So I said earlier that they were open to ideas. They wanted to do cooperative type projects, and the people who had been, for, as I say, some time been looking at some sort of project approached them. Very strong leadership on the council. While there were people in the council who wanted to do this, there were lots of people who had their misgivings about it. And the leadership had to kind of battle past procurement, past legal advice, and all of that. Heavy reliance on co-op values and principles, which is discussed earlier. So one member, one vote, working in member interest. Very much a partnership. It's not the co-op that takes the lead entirely. It's not the council that takes the lead. It is both. It calls on the council to trust in the community, to deliver, and it has done. Edinburgh Community Solar has worked closely in partnership with Energy for All. We've been doing this with communities for 22 years. And also the CARE System, Community and Renewable Energy Scheme, the Scottish Government's initial investment in projects like this was very useful. So in a sense, CARES started the project in financial terms. They provided the development work, and we helped with the share offer to get the financial closure. Positive times for community energy, very much. GB Energy about to come online, about to become a reality at the end of this month when the legislation goes through Parliament. They are being very ambitious. They're looking at 8 gigawatt community energy by 2030. They are looking towards a local power plan, and that would include communities working closely with local government. And I thought I'd just mention another group that I have worked with in Dundee. When we were doing some of the early work in Edinburgh, people in Dundee became aware of what they were doing, and I was invited to speak to a group of 25 people. They asked me about Edinburgh Solar. We spoke about that. But actually, over about 4 or 5 years, they developed a very different project. So what you see here is one ground mount solar meadow. It's 2.6 megawatt, so it is bigger than the entire Edinburgh project put together. That is the A90 you're looking at. So they ran a private wire under the A90. And on this side, just this side, if you like, of the lorries is the campus of the James Hutton Institute, a research institute that does a lot of work around agriculture. And they are selling electricity to James Hutton, and they will be doing that for 25 years. And they believe they will raise 1.25 million pounds in community benefit over the next 25 years. So Edinburgh went about it one way. Dundee, which insists on calling itself the sunniest city in Scotland, did it another way. But both Edinburgh and Dundee have now had successful community solar projects. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you very much, Jim. So we will